All right, guys, it's that time of day again here. Thursday's over. Time to get ready for Friday, 10th day of February, 2022. My name is Joseph, and as always, welcome back to your nightly newsletter. Now, if you're watching for the first time tonight, what took you so long? I'm kidding with you. It's great to have you with me here. My job tonight is to help us find the best trades, setting up for Friday's trading session. I got a great video in store for you guys and gals tonight. Charts are all ready in the background, as you can see. Oil's ready. Nasdaq's ready. Oh, the S&P's always ready. Glad to see you are ready right along with us. Got a bunch of trades setting up for Friday's trading session. Boy, a wild day in the markets today. They went up, they went down. I think that we covered every square inch of the chart today. Not to worry, I got a bunch of great trades setting up for Friday. I'm going to cover all my favorite trades in tonight's video. And you know me, I'll make sure to give you guys some tips to stay out of trouble tomorrow, because I'll definitely tell you, there's a lot of tricks on these charts tonight. There's a lot of tricks on these charts. You're going to see these charts is filled with traps for tomorrow. I want to make sure you aren't a victim of those traps and make sure you're the one on the other side trapping those people and making the money off it. So we're going to cover it all tonight in this video. Before we jump in, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. I publish this video with my best trade ideas every evening. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. A lot of the stuff is very time sensitive. Hit the little bell icon so you always get notified. If you have any questions for me, drop those questions. I would love to answer questions in the comment section. Don't be shy posting questions. And if you guys enjoyed the video, if you tune in every evening, if your day doesn't end until this video begins, hit that like button for me. Appreciate you guys tuning in here tonight on this video newsletter. But enough of the intro though. Time is ticking. I'm a little bit behind schedule, as you can see. I'll tell you, the charts weren't that easy here tonight. They weren't that easy here tonight. Let's get ready for Friday. See if we can help you guys make some money on Friday morning. As you can see right now, everything is bearish, right? Everything is bearish. Bear move in the S&P, bear move on the Nasdaq, bear move here on the oil. And I definitely can see, I can definitely see quite a few sell setups. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of reasons why I think the buyers might have the easier money here for tomorrow. So, I've definitely got some shorts on my radar for tomorrow, but we're sitting at, measured moves, key support here, range above us. I don't know. I got my eyes on some long trades. Got my eyes, of course, on some short trades, and we'll break it all down here for Friday's trading session. Speaking of Friday, now let's take a look at the schedule for tomorrow before we jump into each of these charts individually. Tomorrow, of course, is the 11th. It's a Friday. Now, Fridays always tend to have a personality all of their own. Usually, Fridays are a smaller window of opportunity. Maybe tomorrow, I don't know. The way today moved, because today was such a just busy day today, I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow took a little bit of a breather. But at the same time, though, you guys probably heard those headlines this afternoon about some of the Fed speakers coming out and saying they're calling for an emergency rate hike now, that the CPI this morning was at, 7.5% year over year, another record-breaking number. So there's a lot of commotion going on out there right now about, we may wake up tomorrow morning, maybe not tomorrow, but we may wake up in this couple days here and have a surprise, right? A rate hike ahead of the March FOMC meeting. I've been around long enough to see a couple of those in my time, and those really have potential to move these markets around. So, I would normally, after a busy day like today, I would say tomorrow, with no real major news tomorrow, and it's no major news on the schedule, normally I would say tomorrow could be a bit of a range-bound market, just because today was just so wild, right? For good reason. That CPI report sent everything going, and then of course the Fed speakers late in the day. But again, with that commentary out of the Fed, tomorrow has a very good chance of being just as active. Now we're going to jump into the charts here. There's no major news tomorrow. The one thing about a Friday though is try not to push things too late in the day on a Friday. It's all about market personality. If the market's moving well after lunch on a Friday afternoon, trade it. But if it's barely moving, remember, trading is like riding a bicycle. It's a lot easier when it's moving. So if the markets are slow tomorrow afternoon, stay away from it. Save your bullets. We'll come back for next week, right? Next week, of course, being that third week of the month, so a lot busier news week next week. So, kind of keep your eyes on the personality. Get in early, get that money early, get out of there early, enjoy hopefully some springtime weather wherever you're tuning in here tonight. And again, if things are slow in the afternoon, don't push it. Think about that bicycle kind of metaphor when it comes to the market. So there's no real earnings to worry about tomorrow. There's no major news tomorrow. It's all going to be, how does the market react to this recent rumor that we may have an emergency rate hike, before March's FOMC announcement. So that's the big kind of known unknown for tomorrow. So I'm pretty excited for tomorrow. Tomorrow has potential to be a very busy day in our trade room. Now, S&P, Nasdaq, crude oil. S&P and Nasdaq are pretty similar. They usually are. The oil is kind of the oddball. Oil is a very interesting chart tonight, so you want to make sure you stay around for the oil chart. Let's jump into the S&P, though. Let's get this party going. Now, what would you say is the most important kind of piece of this? What are the most important factors on this chart right now? I think one factor is this spike in channel. Right, we get a kind of a strong spike down into a narrow channel. Now, boy, did we see a great example of what spike in channels do last night, right? Remember last night, 24 hours ago, we talked about a spike in channel last night. And what did we say about spike in channels? We said spike in channels love deep pullbacks. Now, obviously, I wasn't expecting this steep of a pullback, right? But that's exactly what happened, right? Spike in channels, they love these deep pullbacks, just kind of the way they work. So that puts us up in this area right here, that 45, 22, 23 area, right, which is the base of that channel. So that's one of the key components here on that, right, on this chart, right? Bears would love to sell short in the base of that spike in channel. Now, second kind of component here right now, look at where this low is right here. Okay, so we move lower, we pump up, we run lower, we kind of obviously get chopped up around that low. Look where this low is right now. And you can see if we get up into that 45-30 area, this could easily turn into a little bit of a trap, if you will, off of this low. That's why I said in the introduction, there's a lot of little traps that are definitely kind of, you'll see, right, as we go through this, right? So that is something that is kind of playing on my mind here. Also, too, you'll notice we had that range, of course, from last night's video, one leg, two leg, three legs down. Most trends are going to go three legs. And so it's very interesting to see this thing back at Friday's close, conveniently on Thursday afternoon. And of course, right, sitting at a measured move. Interesting stuff. I also think too, it's worth mentioning that let's not forget, right? Let's not forget, if we go lower here, there's still more. There's a big. I mean, really, in all reality, this is just one big trading range, right? So even if we do go lower here right now, it's tough to want to sell down here until we can really get a crack and break through that low, because then we have this wide open space, right, down to that 43.20 range we've been talking about here all week. So, the bears, the sellers right now, the sellers would love to get down to that 44.40, and they'd love to take that low out. That's definitely to be the objective here for the bears right now. The buyers, this is easy, right? The buyers want to get back up into that range at 45.60. The buyers would love to retest that big high tomorrow up around that 45.80. And again, with that news from the Fed this afternoon about an emergency rate hike, they might have the juice they need, right, to get this stuff going here. So those are kind of what's in my head here tonight. Those are what are affecting this. I'd like to be a buyer on. I don't care what I trade. I'll take whatever the market gives me, right? We are in the reaction business, not in the prediction business here as day traders. So what do we do down here? I can't do much here, right? I can't do much here. Let's talk about the pullbacks. We may also see a range here tomorrow too. Again, wild session today, right? I mean, lots and lots of movement. So, like I mentioned in the introduction, we may see things start to go sideways tomorrow, just because of such a very busy day today. Couple things you want to think about, right? Couple things you want to think about as we pull back here. Right, as we pull back here, I think the buyers have a great shot here right now for a 1, 2, 3 reversal into a first channel test off the low of this new channel. I think that looks like a really, really good way to buy this. Again, think about how that low holds. There'll be a trend line coming up here. So I like that. I like that long trade. I'm not a big fan of picking a bottom here. I'll talk about a reversal here in a second. But I think one very, very good option here for the buyers right now, if we go higher, is to think about that. Again, we call these 1, 2, 3 reversals, right? So 1, 2, 3, we jump higher here. Now I'm not going to chase this thing higher. What I'll do is I'll mark up a trend line off the high, I'll mark up a channel low, and then I love to find traps around the low of that channel. And of course, this will usually get us just below the moving average. We can look for what I call a trap setup, a failure setup, and a pullback setup. We can usually find at least one of those 3 entry setups that we talk about in that free trading class, right? That you guys have all taken, right? You guys have learned these entry setups, the traps, the failures, the pullback combinations. And, by the way, if you're tuning in for the first time here tonight, if you haven't taken that free trading course yet to learn all the entry setups, what I'll do is I'll put a little link up there for you in the upper right-hand corner. That way you can learn the entry setups, where to trade them, when to skip them, the rules to use, and you'll learn the entire roadmap as part of our free trading course on our website. So I'll put a little pop up there for you. Definitely grab that free course, because I know a lot of you guys have already grabbed it, and learn right, the best time frames, the signals we use for those entries, right, off of that low. So that would definitely be a way to buy this as we go higher. Another one to keep in mind would be, what if this thing just rips, right? What if it rips? It rips here overnight, strong move up, shallow pullback, higher high in price, traps, baby, right? That trap is a great entry. We call these two try traps. Strong move, shallow pullback, higher high in price, trap low, right? Now, I'm always looking for channels. If I can find a channel to incorporate with that, great. You're not going to need it if you see that type of setup, just so you know, right? That trap setup going higher. And I would definitely want that entry before we get back up into that range, right? Ideally. Now, another one, right? Another one. We pop up and we start to grind. We grind, right? Could easily happen. Short squeeze, right? Short squeeze. Whenever we see the market pop and grind, the best way to trade it is simply draw a really tight trend line off those highs, bring it all the way down to that major low, and find that channel. Then again, like I said, I love to look for traps. I like to look for failures off the moving average, right? And again, you'll learn all this stuff inside that trading course, right? So there's a couple ways to buy it as the market, right? As the market goes higher. How would I sell it as it goes higher? Good question. So if we start to go higher here right now, our biggest kind of challenge will be, there's going to be a trend line coming up, right? Up off that low. And so the best way, really kind of the only way to sell this, because again, it's a very bear market right now. You can see it isn't difficult to know direction right now. The problem is going to be that trend line. So what you kind of want to think about here is you want to get underneath that trend line and use it. Now, one kind of word of advice on that trend line is you're not going to want to do it like this, where it barely gets underneath it and try to go like that. That's not usually the most reliable way to do it. What I tell my students in trade room is you want to see some daylight, right? You want to see it go underneath, see some daylight, right? And then back up, from there. We call these two-legged pullbacks, right? Usually because there's 2 legs on the pullback. So that's one way I can sell this as we go higher here. Now, what if we go sideways here? Okay, there's a very good chance we go sideways tomorrow, just simply out of the fact that we had so much momentum, so much movement here today. Today was like a marathon, race for these markets, right? So, you would probably kick up on the couch for a day or so after a marathon. The markets may do it tomorrow. Again, I wouldn't hold your breath for it though, just again because of the comments out of the Fed. We may see quite a bit of action tomorrow morning. So of course, again, if we go sideways here right now, there are 2 ways to trade a range. There are 2 ways to trade the range. One, we're going to find levels of resistance up above the high of that range, and we're going to wait for a breakout. Now remember, if they go sideways down here, that sideways range becomes a magnet. Okay, and the most recent range is the one you want to pay attention to. So if we do get a sideways range down here, this range is a magnet. I want to wait for that breakout. Eventually the sellers will run out of bullets down here, and the market will start to pull back off that high. Once it pulls back off that high, now we look for buyers to come in and try to buy this. It's premature though. This is not a bull market at this point. It's a bear market with a range magnet. In these scenarios, I like to wait for the buyers to try and then look for a way to sell into those stop losses. Now remember, your job is not over at that point. Now what you want to do is draw another trend line off that low, find a hidden channel, and this is a great add-on, right, or a re-entry, depending how you manage that position. Now, where's my target on that? Again, it's going to be a failure. Okay, let those buyers get trapped in, sell into their stop losses. Then it's a first test right off the high of that channel. All right, I'm not going to go into all the details of the entry signals, but as I mentioned earlier, I love traps, I love failures. You'll learn about those again in a lot more detail in that free course that's linked up in the upper right-hand corner. Okay, now where's my targets? My targets are, right, mark up the amount above, right, mark up the amount above, mark up the amount below. And there, of course, is your objective on the other side. All right, so that makes for easy targets on the other side of that trading range. Now, what if we don't go sideways, right? Could I maybe pick a bottom here right now? You definitely can try. Again, like I mentioned earlier, I like the fact that we're sitting at some significant support here. I like all that. What I don't like is momentum. Momentum is really strong right now. It's not a bull market at all, and so trying to predict a reversal is just not exactly the most reliable strategy. So what I'll do is I'll use what I call a crown reversal. I'll let the bears try once, I'll let them try twice, and if we can get a little trap below that low, that's a great entry, right? That's a great entry. Again, think about momentum as being bearish. Let the bears try a couple times, right? I like to go in this situation because it's still so bearish, I like to look for that little trap below that low. Now, once that trap triggers, right? Once this thing triggers and we start to now run higher here now this is definitely where you can go out, grab a new channel. Okay, this comes your reversal now. And again, like we mentioned earlier, grab that trap, grab that failure, grab that pullback, and we're hunting for that range back above us. Does that make sense, right? If you're enjoying it, hit that like button for me. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel here. That way, because I'm gonna keep this good stuff coming every evening on this video. So again, a crown reversal off the low, right? Protect yourself because it's so bearish. And then if we get that turn, we drill down, we find our entry off the low of that channel. Keep in mind, guys, almost everything I'm talking about right now can pretty much apply to the Nasdaq as well. All right, we're going to cover the Nasdaq here in a second. So that's one way to buy it off of this low. What if the market goes lower, right? What if the market goes lower? If the market goes lower, then all of a sudden this low right here really isn't that, well, it's not intimidating anymore. So if the market runs lower, let's say, for example, we keep on pushing lower here overnight, right? All of that momentum going down means we're probably going to end up getting a bounce. Buyers will probably come in, try to buy it back up, and they're going to probably fail, right? And we can sell it back down with a failure into pullback combination. We see a lot of these combinations, right? Failure into pullback combination. You'll learn more about that inside that trading class that I mentioned. Now, keep in mind, in this situation, you're going to want to kind of redraw that channel, right? Down off those lows, up around that high, find that channel. We'll obviously update this tomorrow morning in our trade room, but that's kind of the idea. We keep drawing that channel down, we wait for that pop up, right? And we look for that retest. Remember, if it really pushes lower here, right? If it really pushes lower here, this will be a very strong move. Anytime we see a real strong move in one direction, we know the odds are we'll get that bounce and that retest of the low. So very easy for us to think now, okay, update that channel now, get that bounce up off of that low, get those buyers to take it going higher, trap in those buyers foolishly buying into a bear market and use their stops as fuel for a failure into pullback combination. Now, once we get that short off the high, this is absolutely where you can start looking for that long side now. Okay, so that may definitely be a reality for us here tomorrow, right? We may end up running lower. We may get that, right, that channel. We go up, we sell off the high like I described before, we retest the low. Remember, anytime we see a strong move in one direction, very good chance we get back to that low. Once we do, it's mission accomplished. Congratulations, sellers. Now let's grab one of those crown reversals. Now let's go 1, let's go 2, let's grab that crown reversal. Well, I shouldn't say that. At this point now, we've already got that retest. So really all we need at this point is we just need 2 tries from the bears. I love to get a trend line coming off of that low. You know, we saw one of those on oil today. Remember, think about the stops here, right? You get the bears trying once, bears trying twice. They've taken out that low. We're at these big support zones, right? Down below this range that we talked about earlier. Right now, all those, right? All the sellers, all their pain, right? All their stops are sitting right there. This is exactly where we get that pop back up, find that new channel, drill down, and hit it off that, right, off the first test there, right? So again, a 2-try failure, because again, you're going against momentum. Then first test. That could be a trap, that could be a failure, it could be a pullback. We won't know until we see it tomorrow morning. All right. And then where do we think this market wants to go at that point? It wants to go back up into that range. You know, ranges are magnets. All right, guys. Now, if this thing really starts to push lower here, right? If it really starts to push lower, then we can start thinking about this move going lower and continuing. We'll have to wait and see what we get tomorrow, right? Unfortunately, I can't cover every possible scenario here in this video, but you know, that's why we have a trade room. Our trade room opens up every morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time. I look forward to seeing you there tomorrow morning. All right, we're looking good there. S&P's locked and loaded. Shall we go to the Nasdaq? Let's do it. Nasdaq is very similar here. The Nasdaq, I feel like is easier to see what I'm trying to communicate. I feel like the Nasdaq's a better example of this. So, for instance, you can see here in the Nasdaq, we're definitely bearish. We have this spike in channel. Okay, so again, as we pull back into the base of that channel, nothing really changes here, right? Nothing changes. We still have that big low. And so the idea of selling into that low is just, it's very difficult. That's a difficult pill to swallow. That's a tough one. All right. Especially again, because of this 1, 2, 3 legs down, conveniently sitting right at Friday's close, right? We oftentimes see that going to the end of the week. Just like the S&P, we definitely have a lot of overlapping candles, a lot of volume, right, stacked up around that, 14,900. You would think that 15,000 would be a big magnet for those buyers. You would think the buyers would love to go back up, take out that 15,000 again for tomorrow. And if we go lower, this again is a good example, right? Just with the S&P, we have a lot of support down here. It's a lot of support. Now, does that mean we can't sell as we go lower? Of course not. If we see this thing really push lower, yeah, we expect there to be a short to retest, and then we can go back up from there. But as far as, selling down in this area, it just seems like that's going to be a little bit of a risky business right down there until we can crack through it, right? If we can get down this area and crack through it, then we've got this, right? Then that 14,000, got that big juicy range down there. Ranges act like magnets. So bears have one thing on their mind. They want to get down to that 14,000, right? The bulls, you could say, want to get back to 15,000. Okay, so it's a lot of this will be very, very similar here that we talked about on the S&P. I think probably one of the big kind of key differences here on the Nasdaq is this trend line. This trend line you can see coming down here is a little bit more. It's a little bit more in our way than on the S&P. The S&P has more of a flat trend line, which you don't have to worry about those flat trend lines. This one does seem to be a little bit more in the way on the Nasdaq than, of course, on the S&P. But, again, not a lot changes here, right? If we get that 1, 2, 3 reversal, I'm going to go out and find that channel. I'm going to drill down, find my trap, right? Find my pullback, find my failure off of that low. If the market was to rip and run higher here, really race and run higher, right? Strong move up, shallow pullback, higher high in price, that trap, right? That 2-try trap setup, that will be a great one to look for, right? Really, no matter where we are at that point. And then, of course, if it does pop up and grind, right? Pop and grind, what do? Anytime a market pops up, right, or down, it pops up and starts to grind, just simply grab that trend line, right, nice and tight there, off that low, and you got it, right? Buy that. Remember, first test is the best test. Okay, so again, if it pops up here and starts to grind, don't chase it. Just draw that trend line nice and tight. Okay, don't be foolish. Don't be looking for big channels. That's a waste of your time, right? Find that nice steep one there. Find that channel. Again, look for traps. Those are always where kind of the easy money is, as we say. And of course, you got your trap, your failure, your pullback, as we go from there. Again, 15,000 is an easy objective. 15,068, right, is that big top as we go here. How would I sell this thing as it goes higher? Same thing as the S&P. There will be a problem with that rising support trend line. So draw that rising support. Make sure you get some daylight in between, and then we'll see if we can get that signal coming off of it, right? So we'll definitely be watching for that. As you can see, though, it's not easy. It's definitely not easy to look to find a good place to sell this thing right now, right? Because that rising support trend line, because of this low here. So really, very much. Again, we'll take whatever the market gives us. But right now, it looks like the easier money will be on the buy side. Just like we talked about on the Nasdaq, on the S&P as well, if we do end up going sideways here, remember your job at this point now, this becomes your new magnet. Your job at this point now is find levels of resistance overhead. Wait for, remember, this is a very different scenario if we go sideways. If we start going sideways in a nice big juicy range there, that becomes the magnet. All right, that's very different than just making a move lower, right? Making a move lower, this can reverse easily. Okay, but if it starts to sit here and go sideways, what does that tell you? That tells you that there's a lot more bearishness here. There's a lot more acceptance of the bears, right? The sellers in this case, if it goes sideways, the only way the bears go sideways here is if they hold that low and don't take profit, so if the bears get out, that's when we start going higher, right? So we find those levels of resistance up overhead. We wait for the bears to run out of bullets. We wait for the pop back up. At that point, the range, of course, is the magnet. We wait for those buyers to come in and try to get long. The range magnet holds, failure pattern. And then remember, don't just kick your feet back on the desk. Find that new channel and grab that first test, right? Because that first test is usually a very good trade there. Failure pattern, and then again, I love traps off the high of that channel. And again, as I mentioned earlier, I know a lot of you guys have taken that free trading class already. If you haven't learned the traps yet, if you haven't learned the failure setups yet, you can learn those inside of that free trading class, right? Linked up in the upper right-hand corner there. Remember, don't forget, the size of the breakout higher is the size of that breakout lower. Now, what do you think? Is it possible, and this would also apply to the S&P as well, do you think that we could maybe, once we take out that low, could we then go with a 1, a 2, and back up again? Yeah, absolutely, right? Because now that range is your magnet, right? We've completed our mission, as we say. Right, we've taken the pendulum swing out on the side. So we cruise lower, we take out to the side, and then all of a sudden, bears once, bears twice, whoop, right? Like it's on a string. We're buying right into those stops for that run going back up again. And you can literally rinse and repeat over and over again. Buy low, sell high, focus on failures around the support and resistance just outside that trading range. Okay. Now again, just like the S&P here, we get a lot of support down here. So if this market, and again, I have no idea where this thing's going. The way the Fed kind of spooked the markets yesterday, it's anybody's guess. Again, I think the buy side's easier, but I don't care what direction we go in. So again, if we end up pushing lower here right now. Okay, now this becomes a very strong big move in one direction, which means the odds are very good we're going to go up and retest that low. So what do? You find that newer, right, that new channel. You wait for that pop off that low, get above the moving average. You could also say, grab something like this, right? Draw that channel down, find that channel high. There is your trap above a prior swing. Let those buyers try to come in and buy that pullback. Once they fail, cut you with a failure. And of course, the pullback combination as we go lower, right? That now retest that low. What do we say? Mission accomplished. Now you got it. 1 try, 2 try. Now this could be a trap below that low. Right? Little 2 try, the trap, money trade, right? I love this trade right here, okay? Because again, we got the big move down. We're not trying to pick a bottom, right? Let them retest. Let them get that money, right? Let the bears make their money, and then the bulls can make their money. You know, this doesn't always need to be a zero-sum game. I realize trading is a zero-sum game, right? But we want to trade with the market, right? Not against it. So we short off the high of that channel, let it retest, then let those bears, those poor bears, selling right into that low here. They obviously don't watch this video newsletter very much. They should. We now, of course, have, right, the 1 try, 2 try, again, against momentum. So you wait for that. Right, wait for that nice signal, and we're buying it back up. And this is where the party starts again, right? Now we go back up. There's your 1, 2, 3 reversal. Mark up that new high, right? And we're off to the races there. All right, is this making sense? Let me know in the comments section. Have any of you guys? I know you guys in the trade room are doing it, but anyone who's not in the trade room, have you guys been seeing this in your charts? Let me know in the comments section. I would love to know if I'm teaching it the right way and giving you guys the tools to use this on your own. Right, and remember, you can always come in and trade it with us every day in our trade room. All right, looking good. And again, as we go lower, if this thing just explodes and starts to run, again, we're not gonna buy into it, obviously, right? We know this 14,000, 14,100, that'll be your next objective. So let's again, there's a good chance we do go lower here, but again, we'll keep looking for that bounce and back up from there. All right, I think we're looking pretty good there on the Nasdaq. And then over on the oil. Oil is, I don't know, oil probably seems like the least tricky, right, out of all of them. The S&P and the Nasdaq look like they want to take your money tomorrow. They do. Like a bully on the schoolyard playground, right? They do. They look like those levels above and below us. So S&P and Nasdaq look a little bit tricky here. This one looks pretty straightforward, right? This looks pretty straightforward. It really helps to kind of walk through what happened today. So, kind of the most important thing is we went higher into a trading range. Okay? The news came out, knocked the market lower, and are we surprised? Are we surprised with what you see here? Bears once, bears twice? No, right? Strong move up. Oh, what should I do? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'll draw a little trend line right there and I'll buy that first test. Maybe that'll work well. Of course, right? We've talked about this over and over again on this video. So we can see what happened there, right? Now, from there, the market runs up, and again, this is kind of where that big, Fed announcement, well, not really Fed announcement, right, but that rumor started circulating about that rate hike, and everything drops, right? Everything drops. You can see these buyers failed to get their pendulum swing, right? So saved, right? We would have probably been, remember how the S&P and the Nasdaq, remember how they were right at Friday's close? We probably would have been there as well if the Fed wouldn't keep moving these markets around. Anyways, so they obviously failed their pendulum swing higher. That's okay. They dump off the high now, and the amount of the move off the high is equal to the amount moved below. That's going to be a level of support here. Okay, so now we're sitting here. I like this channel. The channel's okay, right? That channel's okay. Honestly, this channel, I put this channel kind of on there just for dress. What you're really dealing with right now is a support trend line, right? So now think about it. Think about where we are right now. We're sitting at a major support trend line. We have more support at 89.29. We have a ton of support at 89, just a little bit of support down there, right? At 89. We have a range magnet above, okay? And of course, a very strong move in one direction. You can see why I'm leaning towards the long side here on this chart right now, right? When you look at it that way, it makes sense. And as you can see right now, we've got strong move down. The bears have tried once. The bears have tried twice. And so right off the bat, that's your crown reversal. There's your new channel. You guys should be good at this by now because this is probably the 10th time we've talked about this little sequence, right? But again, that's how trading goes. Trading is, trading is learning a couple core setups, which you guys will learn all about in that free course linked up in the upper right-hand corner. Learn a couple core setups, focus on one or two markets. Don't be foolish and dilute yourself by trying to do everything. Okay, focus on one or two markets, learn the personality, and then just obviously there's risk involved. You got to manage your risk, but once you get those core setups, it's you can turn these markets into an ATM machine, right? Over and over again, same setups over and over again. So again, strong move down, bears once, bears twice, right? I like that. I like that trap. Again, what you want to remember is that whenever we see a strong move in one direction, we know the odds are good. They're going to retest that low. So before we retest that low, that's when I like to get traps, right? That's when traps are really beneficial. They really help you. They really help you avoid any problems. Then as we go higher, and the market races higher now we find that new channel. Where does the market want to go at this point? The market now, if we go higher from here, the market's going to adjust that pendulum swing to right about probably there. Okay, so be aware of that, all right? If we just go higher, this pendulum swing's a lot smaller, and so, of course, we'll adjust that now up here. But nonetheless, though, we're looking for that, again, that first test, right? First test off the low of that channel. And again, traps, failures, pullback combos, right? As we go back up, take the pendulum swing out, right? And again, that 92 level is a really easy magnet with Friday's close there. All right. If we go lower, right? If we go lower here, and we get that pendulum swing. Okay. Same kind of idea now, but now I feel like now we can be a little more aggressive, right? Because now we've taken the pendulum swing out. We've now completed the mission, as we say, right? Strong move down, complete the mission, retest. Now it can be a little more aggressive, right? 1, 2, little trend line, you know what I'm saying, right? Now we don't need to be as aggressive or as conservative on the entry because now they've got the retest. We've completed the pendulum swing. You know what I mean? Mission accomplished. Congratulations, bears. Now let's buy into stops, right? Bears once, bears twice, right? Bears once, bears twice, and off a trend line, off a trap line. There's a bunch of different ways we can take those trades. You'll learn more of the variations in that free trading class I mentioned earlier. Grab that high, grab that low, drill it down, and don't miss that first test, right? Don't miss that first test. It's always a great trade. Obviously not always, right? Nothing is always in the financial markets, but it usually is a pretty good trade. Okay, so that's going to be what ways to kind of as we try to go lower here, to be a buyer. If it really pushes lower, right? If we really push lower, again, we're right at these lows right now. Now, if it really pushes lower overnight, what you got to be careful with now is again, all that support down here. I'm really not interested in selling this until they can hold that pullback and go. Okay, so here's a couple scenarios to watch for. If we make a run lower, okay, again, all kinds of support down here. Make a run lower. The bears come in and they go, see ya, and they blast right off of that. Where's the market want to go at that point now? It's going to want to go down. Let's find out. Right? Let's find out here. There's that big, right? There's that big range down here. Look at that range. You know, you thought there was a lot of support on the S&P and Nasdaq. That's a hell of a lot of support down there, right? Get rid of that trend line there. So we get the 87.5 level. This is definitely where that range, 87, 87.5, is definitely where these bears would love to go to. If I can get that move lower, bears come in, they hold the pullback, and they jump. Now, keep in mind, didn't do it there, didn't do it there, didn't do it there. So I'm not going to sell that first pullback. But if they can get that 1, 2, 3 and blast, now 87 looks very, very reasonable. Okay, what do? You chase after it? Of course not. Find that low, mark up that high of that channel, grab that first test. Okay, now here's an easy way to find the exact final target down here. Take that first leg down, that's your measuring leg, and project it off the first test. Okay, so size the first leg, size the third leg. Again, think about 87 area, right? The 87 area. But that will help you kind of fine tune where that final target will be on that short. Okay, I also think too, if the market rips lower, again, I could go crown reversal with that trap off the low, right? Crown reversal into new channel, buy the first test, etc., etc. Or we take off the downside, and it's very, I mean, it's not unheard of to see it go up, buyer failure, go down. I'm just not interested in that short. That short is tripping over dollar bills to pick up nickels and dimes, in my opinion. Because while you're looking for the short, it's very difficult to look for the long. You know what I'm saying, right? We want to kind of think about, we can only do so much. And so as we go down there, right, as we go down there, again, they may absolutely have a new channel here. It may come back up right above that. You know, we may get a nice juicy setup there, but again, the problem is, look where you are. You know, a bunch of ranges above us here. Now, again, if they hold it and we go, then hey, I guess, you know, fool on me. But again, this doesn't seem like it's the wisest place to be looking for the short. Okay, let them retest, let them get out of their system, and then the real money, right? The real money here, the 1, the 2, going back up into that trading range, right? I'd much rather keep my powder dry, as they say, for the reversal than to grab that short and just, you know, hold on for the ride and hope it retests that low. Hope that makes sense. Okay, that's some things to think about as we go lower here. And again, as we go higher, you know, really the key here as we go higher will be, you know, do we get that 1, 2, 3 move, grab that channel, get in before we retest that high, right? Because that's definitely going to be where this market wants to go if they just rip right higher here. All right, if it was to pop and grind, you know what I mean, right? Same thing. So a lot of this will be very similar that we talked about on the S&P and the Nasdaq. All right, guys, how did I do? How did I do? Is it making sense? Is it making sense? Are we learning it? Okay, hopefully you'll use this stuff. Hopefully I'll see you in the trade room, and we'll trade this stuff together. You know, I'll tell you, if you're sick and tired of taking so many losses or making mental mistakes or missing the best trades of the day, our trade room is really the best place to be, because we can do it together. We can learn and earn together. It's just a fantastic place to kind of you know, kickstart a trading career. So let's wrap things up here for tonight. Tomorrow, don't forget. Remember, don't force it if it's kind of slow and grindy. I'm very curious what tomorrow will bring, just because that Fed kind of, you know, bomb that blew up in the markets here this afternoon. Don't forget, we open up a trade room 8 o'clock Eastern time each day. Grab all the membership links in the description. I'll put all the free course links, all the premium membership links in there. And don't be afraid to call the office. I'm always here to help. If you got broker questions, chart questions, any questions, right? I don't care. Give me a call. I'll be happy to talk about it, right? Give you all the answers that you need. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and share this information with a friend. That's one of the beautiful things about trading, is the knowledge can help a lot of people out there. So give it a share. I appreciate you guys tuning in here once again. Now get out of here. Enjoy your weekend. We got one more day left tomorrow. Promise me you'll be safe this weekend over Super Bowl weekend. Who you got? Who you got? I told you guys a few weeks ago, I'm an underdog guy, so you know I'm rooting for. I know, and I live in Los Angeles. I say go Bengals. I say absolutely. Anyways, all kidding aside, I gotta say it kind of, lower my voice here. My wife will hear me and scream at me. I'm kidding me though. Have a great day tomorrow. If we don't see you guys in the trade room, have a safe Super Bowl weekend. Don't eat too much, drink too much on Sunday, because Monday's gonna come and we got more money to make next week. All right, guys, keep in touch. Let me know the question in the comment section, and I'll see you guys next time. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.